What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, guys. We here back seeing what countries do people hate to visit. I haven't been to, I've been within the United States. I haven't been too many places outside yet. That's my goal. That's what I'm working toward. But we finna see the world according to Briggs. 10 countries people hate to visit. This is gonna be interesting. I've seen some that people regret to move to, or they love to move to and stuff like that. But let's see, because I'm going to be visiting some soon. So this is going to be interesting.
Today, I'm going to show you some countries that people hate to visit. How do I know people hate to visit these countries? Because they aren't terribly hard to get to and they don't get many visitors. Is this the most scientifically sound way to judge a country? No, not at all, but it is interesting. These are the countries that get the fewest visitors. Now, before we get going, we did skip a bunch of small island nations because they are so hard to get to, nobody visits them, and that's pretty much the only reason. People don't hate the place, they just hate the travel. If an itinerary consists of 3 planes, 11 hours of layovers, 4 boat rides, and a taxi driver that reeks of weed and goat milk, you can expect to get low foot traffic. A couple others.
That sounds like a long week just to get there. Like, it sounds like it take a week just to get to where you're
like Afghanistan don't really have any data on tourism or visitors, so they won't be in the video either because we'd be pretty much guessing. We even got one country I mentioned on a video like 3 years ago and I still get hate mail about it. Yeah, really. I'll tell you about that later on. The good news about that country is they use proper English when they insult me. I have some toothless hillbilly that I imagine has a 4th grade education sending me threats every now and again from Tennessee. So this is just 10 countries that get the fewest visitors. Get it? Got it? Good. Let's take a look. Number 10, Monaco. Located on the French Riviera, you have Monaco. Monaco is the 2nd smallest country in Europe. The only one smaller is Vatican City. Monaco is known for a few things. One, the super wealthy like to go there. They have a really cool race every year. And for some reason, James Bond always ends up in a casino there. If you visit here, you'll probably think that it has a lot more visitors than they actually do. It's because the place is so small and everything's right on top of each other. You end up right on top of each other, and not always in a good way. The average Joe doesn't vacation in Monaco. This is a place for the rich and famous. I mean, most of the shoreline of this country is filled with harbors that have multi-million-dollar yachts. So big you could play hide and seek with like 7 people on board. Not like the rich and famous are sitting there playing hide and seek on their yachts in the harbor of Monaco, but it does sound like a good time. Monaco is a small and beautiful country with a lot of history. It's just most people don't go there to vacation. If they do, they come in for France, they check out Monaco for the day, and then they head back into France, where it's a lot cheaper to stay. Monaco only sees about 362,000 annual visitors. Number 9, Brunei. Brunei is a tiny nation on the island of Borneo, surrounded by Malaysia and the South China Sea. This place is run by a sultan who's like a king. Every time I hear the word sultan, I think of genies and Sinbad the Sailor and all that stuff in Disney movies. But yeah, this guy is the...
I ain't never heard of Brunei. This is a country? I'm over here searching this up. Brunei.
This place is run by a sultan who's like a king. Every time I hear the word sultan, I think of genies and Sinbad the Sailor and all that stuff in Disney movies. But yeah, this guy is the Sultan of Brunei. This is a very wealthy country thanks to its oil reserves, which most people estimate that they'll run out of in a couple decades. If you just saw this country on paper, it looks really good. It's got amazing wildlife, wonderful nature, outstanding architecture, some pretty...
I had to search this up for myself because I'm like, I did the different countries around the world. I don't not remember this one. I had to go and look and see if I remember doing that.
Good history, and still, people really don't visit as much as they probably should. I wonder why. What could be the reason that would stop people from visiting the rainforest they have here? Are you afraid of crocodiles, monkeys that they got there? Or is it the fact that they've got a horrible record for human rights violations, which includes the stoning of homosexuals and adultery? You can also get stoned to death for blasphemy here. They have literally gone medieval. Brunei sees about 323,000 annual visitors. Now, put that in perspective. Singapore, which isn't terribly far away, and it's not nearly as beautiful, probably has more things to do, but they see almost 20 million visitors annually. Even Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam gets close to 9 million visitors annually.
That's a
Number
lot.
8, Guyana. For some reason, a lot of people
Not
seem to think
Guyana.
Guyana is in Africa. And I think
South
that has to do
America.
with Ghana. Even though Guyana's
I just did this on my other channel just the other day. Pretty interesting country. I like the flag.
part of
very
South
interesting.
America, you'll probably think you're in the Caribbean. Sort of the same lifestyle and culture. There's a lot of things to see here. Some great waterfalls, tons of wildlife, and some pretty thick jungle. It is bordered by Venezuela, Suriname, Brazil, and the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean to be exact. This place doesn't have a lot of cities, just a handful. It's mostly farmland, jungle, coastline, and the capital city of Georgetown. Now, this is a beautiful country, but the biggest
I think they got like the Coca-Cola water or something
problem
like
is political instability. They've got some things going on that are keeping people away. And honestly, I think a lot of their problem with even before their political instability was nobody really knows where they are, like I'd said earlier. Guyana gets about 315,000 annual visitors.
that. Still not bad.
Number 7, the Kingdom of Bhutan. Bhutan is a small
Bhutan.
country about the size of Maryland that sits between India
of
and
Bhutan.
China, and it is completely different from those two countries. This is like a neighborhood where you got a Rastafarian living between two dudes with anger management problems. This is a small Himalayan kingdom that goes all in on traditional Buddhist culture. That might be why it's one of the safest countries on the planet. You can go there and visit, not really worry about a thing. I mean, other than the minimum tariff
nice
of $250 per day. Yeah, if you want to go visit, you got to pay that. That might be part of the reason a lot of people don't
much is that?
visit, not really worry about a thing. I mean, other than the minimum tariff of $250 per day. Yeah, if you want to go visit, you got to pay that. That might be part of the reason a lot of people don't visit. But that tariff makes it an all-inclusive paid vacation. You get a place to stay, all your food, your transportation, and an official guide to show you around the country. That's not bad, but
They're
it is
really
a little
not.
expensive, and I'm sure that scares away plenty of low-income
not. They're
travelers,
really not.
budget travelers, whatever the political correct term is these days, price-conscious travelers. You know, honestly, it's becoming more and more of a struggle to be politically correct as I get older. I mean, it was easier when I was younger. Now I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to be like my dad. Like, it's not worth the trouble, and I can't keep up. Bhutan sees about 316,000 annual visitors. Now, they do say only about 75,000 are international, with the rest being regional visitors. Regardless, you got to get a tour guide. Kind of like North Korea. Same thing, it's just a little more pleasant. They have a neat philosophy there. You know, most countries
like it's not
judge
that
how
many.
they're doing by gross domestic product. They actually
I mean, in Bhutan, it looked like it's not too much out there, so I wouldn't. It looked like you would need a
have a
tour
thing
guide.
they call gross national happiness. Everyone's happy in Bhutan. Number
guess that's
6,
a good-
Suriname. Have you ever heard
Not
of Suriname?
Suriname,
If you said
yeah.
yes, congratulations. You're in a small minority. Less than 10% of the people surveyed around the world said that they had any clue where Suriname was. Actually, a lot of people thought it was a fake country. If you're not one of those 10%, it is east of Guyana, which we just talked about, and it has Brazil on its southern border. This is the country I said I've been
I
getting.
actually just learned about this country this year when I was learning about South America. I've been doing geography nouns on a couple of more than just Europe. So, but these in South America, the ones that I never heard of, very interesting countries.
Getting a lot of grief about over the last few years. I did a video and I said it's not a really great place for Americans to relocate to, and there was a lot of reasons for it. The people of Suriname didn't agree with any of my reasons. I will give them one thing: these people love their country and they don't like it when you talk bad about it. Like I said, this place isn't
good.
considered
Gotta
to be a
protect it.
great place for Americans to relocate to, but visiting, that's a different story. It is an interesting and beautiful country with very passionate people. Like I said, it is one of South America's smallest nations. It has a ton of rivers, endless jungles, and colonial Dutch history. What's not to love? There is plenty to see and do in Suriname. I don't know why more people don't visit. They only see about 267,000 annual visitors. Number 5, Moldova. Moldova
Not
is Europe's
Moldova.
second least visited country. It is situated between Romania and the war in Ukraine. It's actually an Eastern European country and former Soviet republic. And it's got some really cool forests, rocky hills, and tons of vineyards. Moldova is
Look
actually
nice,
home to the
though.
world's largest wine cellar. With all that wine, I'm surprised California housewives aren't visiting this place more often, trying to knock a couple reds off their day drinking bucket list.
everything.
Moldova only sees about 174,000 annual visitors. Number 4, Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso used to be called Upper Volta. Used to be part of the French Empire, and they called it Upper Volta because the Red Volta River, Black Volta River, and the White Volta River used to be in this country. Well, they're still there, but now it's not called Upper Volta. It's called Burkina Faso, which is 2 different languages. Well, 2 ethnic groups. The first one means honorable people, Burkina, and then the other one's from another ethnic language there, Faso, for fatherland.
Kind of
for the longest time when all the
almost like the Suriname.
other countries around them were having political problems, they kind of remained out of it. They didn't have that problem until recently.
Hot out there.
They got rising tensions between ethnic groups. My advice for this one, take a hard pass if you ever get invited.
This look like the Lion King.
Tensions between ethnic groups. My advice for this one, take a hard pass if you ever get invited on a Burkina Faso adventure. They only see about 143,000 annual visitors.
It don't look like nothing was
Number
out there
3, North Korea. You know, I did some lists on the least religious countries and the most atheists and things like that. And people kept coming up with, you never talk about North Korea. What's the deal? Well, there's never any stats. This is one of the first times I found the stat, and it's probably false, but North Korea put it out. And
I ain't gonna lie. I thought people like visit North Korea, South Korea, Japan, China, all like at least those places frequently. I thought people visit.
We're going to take them on their word this time. We all know about North Korea. They've been at war with South Korea since the 1950s. Yes, they're technically still at war. This is another place that if you visit, you gotta have a guide everywhere you go. And that guide will tell you what pictures you could take and what pictures you can't take. Now, obviously, this country has a bunch of problems, and I don't want to get into all that. Once you get past that, there's a lot of beauty in this country. Too bad not many people go see it. North Korea only sees about 100,000 visitors a year, and most of them, like 95%, are coming from China. If you do, let's say, go visit there, they won't let you go to the labor camps, so forget that. And they won't let you film, or probably won't even let you see any of the countryside poverty.
Very limited.
You think Mississippi is bad in the country? You should take a look at North Korea. Number 2, Liechtenstein. Liechtenstein is Europe's least visited country.
I'm sure it's the least because I heard it's expensive. Liechtenstein and Luxembourg. I say it's expensive, due to other video, but I might be wrong.
It's really small. It's only 15 miles long and has a population of about 37,000 residents. What's strange is the amount of visitors they get is at least double their population. This is a beautiful country. They have like old castles and stuff that are postcard material. Most people that visit this part of Europe are there to see Switzerland, Austria, Germany, maybe even Italy. Really not too far from Munich or Zurich. I talked about this place also when I was talking about places that it's hard to emigrate to. They make it next to impossible to move to Liechtenstein and become a citizen. Liechtenstein only sees about 96,000 annual visitors. They've been growing a little bit in popularity, but still, it's pretty low. All right, before we get to number 1, I gotta throw this out here. Make sure you leave a comment, and at the end of the video, there's some suggested videos of mine. Really appreciate it if you watch some of those. That's a big metric for YouTube right now. All right, on to number 1. And number 1, Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone has a pretty sketchy past, but they're kind of doing okay these days. When I say kind of doing okay, compared to how they used to be when they had a really ugly civil war. Sierra Leone is a West African country just north of Liberia. Side note, I convinced a guy one time that Liberia was where all the liberals came from. This is before the internet. I would have loved to seen him bring that up in a conversation. Anyway, moving on. Sierra Leone is known for 3 things: blood diamonds, Ebola, and being one of 3 countries founded by slaves.
That's probably where I heard of Sierra Leone. I was watching Blood Diamond. There's a movie called Blood Diamond.
True. It is also known for the white sand beaches that surround the Freetown Peninsula. That is where you'll find this nation's capital of, oddly enough, Freetown. They also have this really cool place called Turner's Peninsula. It has the longest uninterrupted beach in the country and one of the longest stretches in the world. Not inhabited. There's like nobody lives here. Sierra Leone is kind of a stable country now politically, and they're Ebola free actually since 2016. So that's good news. People still don't visit. Sierra Leone sees 57,000 visitors per year. I did see one guy talk about how if you do visit Sierra Leone and you're flying into Freetown, make sure you fly in. Don't go to like Guinea or Liberia and then decide to cross the border, because the police are very corrupt and they'll get you for all kinds of different scams.
Dang. That's not good.
All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have...
Nah, this was good. This was good still. Some of these didn't surprise me, just because it looked like it was nothing too much out there to see. And these North Korea surprised me because I thought people were visiting, but after hearing that, they sound very strict on why people don't visit. But it, all in all, still interesting. Man, it's tough. It's tough out here, But definitely, I'm glad I look at a lot of videos, get a lot of information, and able to plan my travel instead of just jumping out there, because I would hate to be disappointed. I hate to be disappointed, not even about the money, but the experience. You don't want to be disappointed in the experience. But y'all let me know what should have made the list, what should not have been on the list. All I know, like I said, some of these countries, like, they're small and it's not too much out there to see, but I may be wrong. You might be from one of these places and be like, hey, dog, we got some stuff out here. You got to see it. But appreciate y'all for tuning in. Y'all hit that subscribe button. Y'all be blessed, be the best, and be you. I'm out.